All right, everyone, thanks for being here. We are excited to have you at the Virtual College Exploration for all North and South Carolina students, sponsored by the Carolinas Association of Collegiate Registrars and Admissions Officers and StriveScan. So thank you again for being here. A few housekeeping announcements before we get started. You'll be able to use the Q&A button on your screen to type the questions to our presenter at any time. Your camera and microphone are off, so the panelists cannot see or hear you. This is just one of many sessions happening, so be sure to check out the full schedule at CACRAO.org, CACRAO.org. And this presentation is being recorded and will be available within about a week on the same website at CACRAO.org. So now I'd like to turn it over to our presenters.
All right, thank you. Glad you're all able to join us this afternoon. My hope is that you're still able to see my screen. I'm going to double check and make sure we're screen sharing here. There we go. My name is Greg Daly. I'm one of the Associate Directors of Admissions at the Citadel. And what I want to do today is give you an overview of the Citadel and what we have to offer. You can type questions in the chat feature. Now, I am the only presenter on the call today, so I may not be able to answer your question live, but at the end, I have planned on giving myself enough time to answer questions. And what I would actually prefer to do is just kind of wait until the end to type in questions, because as I'm presenting, I may answer your questions as I go along. So a lot of you probably already know, the Citadel is a senior military college. We're located here in Charleston, South Carolina. And, what makes the Citadel unique? And that's what I'm going to talk about first, is the Citadel experience. And on your screen, you should see our principal leadership model. And down at the bottom of that, you see the words honor, duty, and respect. Those are the core values of the Citadel. And that's the foundation for everything that we're doing. And then above that, you see the words character, academics, military, and fitness. Those are our 4 pillars of the Citadel. And then above that, you see the words prepare, engage, serve, and lead. Those represent our classes at the Citadel. So preparing is NOB year. NOBs are what we call first-year cadets. Engage is sophomore year. Serve is junior year, and then lead is senior year. And I want to go into a little more detail about this slide. So our first pillar is character, and here at the Citadel, we've identified 7 different characteristics that we feel, describe a good leader. Number 1 is lead with humility. Number 2, embrace a true and authentic self. Number 3, act and speak with courage. Number 4, develop and value people and resources. 5, empower and hold others accountable. 6, respect others by building trust and learning from mistakes. And then 7, serve others before self. And this, the leadership model, again, is what makes the Citadel unique. I'm not going to sit here today and tell you that you can't get leadership at other institutions. You absolutely can. But here at the Citadel, it's built into what we do on a daily basis. All 2,300 of our cadets are getting not only an academic education, but also that leadership development. And that brings me to our next pillar, which is academics. So we offer a wide variety of majors. I'm not going to go over all of them, but you can see on your screen. And also this is available on our website. You can see all the different majors that we offer. Engineering is our most popular major. We do have a top 20 nationally ranked engineering school. Then followed by business. And again, that's all areas of business. And then our fastest growing major on campus is cyber and security studies. But if you're interested in becoming a nurse, absolutely, we have a nursing degree. If you're planning on going to med school, absolutely, we have pre-med programs. If you're wanting to be a teacher, we do have education programs as well. And along with those majors are our minors, everything from aerospace science all the way down to sustainability, environmental studies. The advice I would give you when choosing a minor is to choose something that you feel will benefit you as you go out into the workforce. So something that you feel coincides with that major, and it will make you more marketable upon graduation. So our next pillar is military. And I've mentioned this earlier, of course, we are a senior military college, and we do have all 5 service branches represented here at the Citadel. So we have Army, Air Force, Navy, and Marine Corps ROTC programs. We also have an auxiliary Coast Guard detachment for our cadets who may be interested in a career in the United States Coast Guard. Coast Guard just doesn't do ROTC in the traditional sense like the other service branches do. There are those some direct commissioning opportunities into the Coast Guard, just like the other 4 service branches. So, what I would encourage you to do, if you are interested in commissioning in the military and coming to the Citadel, you're not required to commission. Some people think, well, I'm going to the Citadel, I'm required to commission in the military after graduation. It is not a requirement. 1 in 3 of our cadets do commission, so it's a high percentage of our cadets commission in the military, but we have students that go right out into the workforce, continue on to grad school, so you have options. But if you are thinking about commissioning, I would encourage you to apply for an ROTC scholarship. These ROTC scholarships are not Citadel awarded by the Citadel, they're awarded by the service branch. So if you are thinking of the Army, you would apply for an Army ROTC scholarship. If you're thinking Army or, Navy or Marine Corps, you would apply for the Navy ROTC scholarship. And again, Marine Corps, you apply for the Navy ROTC scholarship with the Marine Corps option. If you're thinking Air Force, you would apply for the Air Force scholarship. And you can see on your screen those minimum qualifications to be considered for those scholarships. If you are a current senior in high school, now is the time to apply for those ROTC scholarships. Don't wait. They have some deadlines coming up. And, you can call the numbers on the screen. Those are numbers to our ROTC offices here at the Citadel, and they can assist you to find the scholarships. To be honest with you, use Yahoo, Google, whatever your favorite search engine is. And if you're thinking Army, type in Army ROTC scholarship, and it'll take you there. Or Navy, type in Navy ROTC scholarship, and it will take you there. But now's the time to apply for those scholarships. Being a senior military college, yes, we do expect our cadets to be physically fit, and so fitness is one of our pillars as well. And upon acceptance, academic acceptance to the Citadel, you are required to go through a medical clearance process and be approved medically before we allow you to matriculate, because all of our cadets are required to pass a physical fitness test, and we call it PFT. Cadets are required to meet certain height weight standards. You can find those charts on our website. You can see the body fat percentage numbers there. But on the screen, you also see push-ups, crunches, and a 1.5 mile run. This is what consists of our physical fitness test. So we expect you to be able to do, you can see the minimums: 42 push-ups for males, 19 push-ups for females in 2 minutes, crunches, 70 crunches for males, 50 crunches for females within 2 minutes, and then be able to run in a 1.5 miles in a little under 13 minutes for a male, and right at 15 minutes for a female. And again, you get up, our cadets are getting up and they do PT, physical training, in the mornings, specifically Mondays and Thursdays. All 2,300 cadets are out there doing some type of PT, whether it is going for a run, calisthenics, those types of things. So fitness is a big part of what we're doing. And again, that all goes back to the whole person model and that leadership model. But also a part of fitness is Division I sports. We are in the Southern Conference, and you can see on our screen our list of both men's and women's sports there. The sports that you see, what I would encourage, if you are interested in playing a collegiate sport here at the Citadel, is go to citadelsports.com. You can then find the contact information for our coaching staff. Shoot them an email, send them any stats, have your coach contact our coaching staff. That's actually the best way, in my opinion. But there's also an athletic recruitment form there on the website that you can fill out and put your interest in stats and things on as well. If you're not necessarily interested in Division I sports, but you're competitive, you want to stay competitive, we do have intramural sports, and intramurals are cadets competing against cadets. But then we also have club sports, so the ones listed in red. And club sports are, our cadets are going out and they're competing against other colleges in our club conference. And, they have traditional practice times, those types of things, whereas intramurals are done in the afternoon. Every afternoon on our campus, Monday through Thursday, pretty much everyone's doing something physical and more than likely competitive, whether it be, Division I athletic practices, intramural sports, club sports, or some type of ROTC training. And I'll have at the end, I'll have a slide for you that shows you the day in the life of a cadet. So back to our model here. We've gone over our 4 pillars. So what does each year look like? What does, if you're preparing, that's your NOB year. In NOBs, you're preparing not just for your life here at the Citadel, but for life after the Citadel. And you're definitely in an intense environment. For most individuals, NOB year, that first year at the Citadel, is the toughest thing they've experienced up until that point in time of their life. And I don't tell you that to scare you, because there's plenty of people who have done it before you, and there'll be plenty of people who do it after you. But it is a unique experience in a lot different from a more traditional college. And during that NOB year, you're going to learn self-awareness. You're going to definitely learn character. You're definitely going to learn perseverance. You're going to learn a lot about time management and teamwork. During that NOB year, you can't get through NOB year by yourself. You're going to rely on those classmates that come that matriculate with you within your company. In that NOB year is also our first opportunity to internalize, for you to internalize the core values of honor, duty, and respect. So sophomore year, it was engaging. During sophomore year, you're moving from that, that followership from NOB year into the front line, into frontline leadership roles. And sophomores are not by any means running the Corps, but they will be have some responsibility for small teams on campus. Some administrative duties that need to be done, and there is a emphasis placed on community service during NOB year as well. And one of the unique things about the Citadel is that we have a day every year dedicated to community service, where pretty much all 2,300 of our cadets are out in the community here, locally, here in the Low Country, and doing something, some type of community service. It could be something as simple as you're going over to the local elementary school and reading to kindergartners and first graders, to, as you see on the screen there, helping with Habitat for Humanity build, those types of things. If our cadets come into the Citadel, they may already have an interest in certain community service opportunities and projects, and absolutely, if we can make it work, we'll get them involved with it, and they can get some of their classmates involved with that during that day. So that's something that's great about the Citadel. It's not just hey, I'm coming to college and learning leadership, but a part of that learning leadership is the service aspect of it. And becoming engaged in the community during sophomore year is an integral part. So junior year, you're directly engaged in leadership on our campus. The juniors are the individuals who are training the NOBs that are coming in. The juniors, certain juniors will be selected as what we call cadre members. So cadre is our training element. And, as a cadre member, you could be doing something, teaching NOBs how to walk, for example, as this young lady in the red shirt up at the top of your screen is doing, or down at the bottom, teaching individuals how to salute. But the cadre members are more than that. They are the individuals who are, again, motivating those NOBs. Those are going to be the individuals who are probably going to yell at you at some point in time. And they're not yelling at you because they don't like you. They're probably yelling at you, number one, to put you under some stress to see how you react to that stress. And number two, they're yelling at you to motivate you and to get you motivated and continue on and keep on charging. And again, I mentioned this earlier, but those juniors, they're acting as direct leaders of teams and groups, and they're the ones who are motivating those teams to achieve the various operational and logistical goals that we have in the Citadel. Senior year is lead. And you can think of our seniors as they're the ones who are setting the climate here at the Citadel. They're also the policymakers. If there are any system integrations that need to be done in the Corps, the seniors are the ones who are responsible for that. And the seniors are ultimately the individuals on our campus who are being held to the highest standard as well, because they have all 3 years under them looking at them. Again, they're the climate setters. And so the seniors, they're probably going to have the shiniest brass, the shiniest shoes on our campus, because that's a part of it, attention to those details. Waking up in the morning, making sure you're looking your best. If you were comparing senior year in the private sector, it's easier to compare senior year. You can think of them as, even though we're a military college, but if you were comparing us to a private sector company, those seniors, they're the CEOs, the CFOs of corporations. In military aspect, they're the generals, they're the colonels, they're the high level folks that aren't necessarily dealing with day-to-day operations. They are, again, big picture folks, and again, trendsetters, role models. They're the ones who are making sure, that the honor, the duty, and the respect are being followed through. So that's the Citadel experience in general, and I could be honest with you, I could sit here and talk for a couple of hours on that, but we only have 45 minutes, so I don't want to spend any more time on that. I want to move on through and talk a little bit about the application process, and then give us some time to answer questions at the end. So our application process is pretty straightforward. You can submit the application and also find the application at www.citadel.edu/apply. It's there on the screen. We do not use the common application here at the Citadel. The Citadel application is specific, and this is the only location that you can find our application. And the reason for that is because we ask some very specific questions on our application that if you did a common app, we would end up having to send you some supplemental forms anyway, and it would just slow the process down for you. And so, we prefer to have our own application there. If you are a senior in high school, now is the time to apply. We started sending out admissions decisions in August. We have quite a few folks that have already been academically accepted here at the Citadel. If you're thinking about applying to Citadel, absolutely now's the time. The Citadel works on rolling admissions, so we don't have a set application deadline. We process and accept applications up until the point that our class is full. But this is the time of year that we're receiving the majority of our applications. September, October, November of the student's senior year. What I would tell you, typically takes us anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks to process an application once it's submitted and complete. And what I mean by complete is got to have your high school transcript. If you choose to submit SAT or ACT scores this year, and I'll talk about that in a second, then the application becomes complete. Then we will process that and get an admissions decision out to you. But now is the time. I would encourage you, if you're a senior and you like what you see today, absolutely go ahead and apply. It is a non-binding admissions decision. You have until May 1st of your senior year to ultimately decide if this is where you want to go to school or not. So it's going to give you plenty of time to hear back from other colleges, hear back from our financial aid office, hear back from other schools' financial aid offices, so that you and your families can sit down and discuss where you would like to attend. So submit the application. Submit your transcripts, high school transcripts. If there are any transfer students on here, absolutely. College transcripts as well. Submit all SAT or ACT scores. If we have any international students on the call, you're also required to submit a TOEFL score. Now this year for the SAT and ACT, the Citadel has decided to go test optional. So you do have that opportunity on the application to choose whether you want to submit test scores or not. And the reason we did that is because we have applicants from all over the world and all over the United States. Roughly 50% of our cadets from South Carolina, 50% are from out of state. And there are certain regions in the country, especially, that those students have not had that opportunity. There's even places in South Carolina that those students have not had the opportunity to take an SAT or an ACT at this point in time, and we do not want to penalize those. those students. So we've always taken a holistic approach as far as our application is concerned. So yes, we're looking at your GPA. Yes, we're looking at test scores if you choose to submit those. But we also want to, hear from those recommenders. We ask you to submit two recommendations. We want to, on the application, we ask questions about extracurricular activities and those types of things. So we want to see what you've been involved with. Because we're looking for individuals who understand what it means to make a commitment to something, and also looking for individuals who already have those time management skills that we're looking for. So in case you're wondering, you may be curious, well, what does an applicant to the Citadel look like? What does a successful applicant look like? So I'll give you, the class of 2019, the incoming class of 2019's profile. 1150 on the SAT, 23 composite score on the ACT, and then a GPA of around a 3.77. And again, those are averages, some above, some below that. And, again, we're looking at more than just GPA and test scores. We're looking for that, community service, involvement in athletics, if you're in JROTC, those types of things. And I'm not telling you have to be involved in all those things. Those are just examples. But, we want to see, do we feel like, we want to get a feel from your application. Do we think you'll be successful in the Corps? Do we think you already have those time management skills? Do we have a feeling that you understand what it means to be, to make a commitment to something and then follow through with that commitment? And for us at the Citadel, that's what those extracurricular activities mean to us. So where do our cadets come from? Roughly 50% in-state, 50% out-of-state. The Corps as a whole is about 90% male, 10% female. Those numbers are growing. The female numbers, we've exponentially almost every year we increase breaking those female number goals that we set for ourselves. One big thing for young ladies, in the past, you may have heard, yes, the young ladies had to get a pixie cut their hair really short. Well, for some young women, that was a deal breaker. Not anymore. The young ladies aren't required to get the short haircut anymore, as long as you can keep it in military standards. So it can be long, as long as you can get it up in a bun. I know it's kind of probably hard to see my hand motion on the screen, but if you can get your hair up in the bun, while you're in uniform, it's okay for the hair. Now, that being said, a lot of our young ladies do still choose to cut their hair a little shorter, just to make it easier to manage. Now, there's not a lot walking around with the short haircuts anymore. And for young men, you have to have that initial haircut, not completely bald, but if you have light hair color like mine, you look like you're bald. And just kind of in case any of you guys are listening right now or ever on Jeopardy, and they ask, where did knobs get their name from? And way back when, of course, when the Citadel was all male, those young men had to have their heads completely shaved bald, and so when they looked down, their heads looked like doorknobs. So the term knob came about. So there's a little trivia for you. Tuition and fees, and this is a total cost of attendance. This is tuition fees, room board, uniform cost, books. Room and board includes housing and all that good stuff. So for our South Carolina residents, $30,000 per year. If there are any non-residents on the call, $53,000 per year. And again, this is a total cost without any kind of financial aid. And we do absolutely have lots of financial aid opportunities available to our applicants and our cadets in general once you're here. So the types of financial aid and scholarship that you may be eligible for, absolutely athletic scholarships. And of course, those are awarded by the athletic departments and by the coaching staffs over there. The ROTC scholarships, those again are not awarded by the Citadel, they're awarded by the service branch. Absolutely. FAFSA opens up in a couple of days, which is the free application for federal student aid. So go to FAFSA.gov, submit that FAFSA form over, and for us, to see if you're eligible for any grants, student loans, those types of things. We have a couple of scholarship opportunities on campus that pull some data from the FAFSA as well. But our merit-based scholarships, and our merit-based scholarships basically range from $10,000 all the way up to full tuition. To be eligible for those full tuition scholarships, they're very competitive. 1,300 on the SAT, 29 on the ACT, 3.7 on the GPA to be considered. Now I'm going to be totally honest with you, 3.7 probably not going to get you one of those scholarships. 4.0 or above is traditionally where those folks are. But to be considered, these are the numbers. And what would happen is once you've submitted your admissions application, the financial aid office is going to review your transcripts and test scores and see what you're eligible for. So there's not a separate scholarship application, at least not a separate initial scholarship application. Now, depending on what you qualify for, you may receive some communication from our financial aid office that says, hey, we need you to fill out the supplemental form. Or if you're competing for one of our full tuition scholarships, the financial aid office is going to be in contact with you and let you know, number one, you're being considered for those scholarships. Number two, they're going to invite you to a scholars competition. And what that would look like is there would be an essay that you would submit ahead of time, and then there would be an interview process that you would go through with certain faculty members on campus. And again, those academic scholarships range anywhere from $10,000 all the way up to full tuition. So kind of what are my next, what are your next steps if you're applying to the Citadel? And so I'm going to start with junior year. So make sure as a junior, go over those course requirements that we have for freshmen. The 4 units of English, the 4 units of math, Algebra 1, Algebra 2, Geometry, something higher than Algebra 2, whether it's statistics or pre-cal or calculus, 2 years of the same foreign language, 3 years of lab science, coming from the areas of either biology, chemistry, or physics, 1 unit of physical education or ROTC, 1 unit of fine arts, 3 units of social studies, 1 being U.S. history, and then of course government economics, psychology, sociology, world history, those types of things would be considered social studies, and then 1 general academic elective, which could be an extra foreign language, it could be an extra social studies. Talk to your guidance counselor. They have all this information. We also have all this information on our website, so that you can see. And then that leads into your, going into your senior year, making sure that you've signed up for the right courses. In a non-pandemic world, make sure that you're signing up for the SAT and ACT during your junior year, towards the latter part of your junior year. That way you can have a couple of tests under your belt before you begin applying to colleges and applying to the Citadel during your senior year. For high school seniors, absolutely apply. Again, now's the time to apply. Don't wait. Again, we're on rolling admissions, so we're already sending out academic acceptance decisions at this point in time. Traditionally, we would have what we call a pre-nob visit for our seniors. What that is pre-nobs in the past are open to anyone who's applied to the Citadel as a senior in high school, and it's a program where you can come to campus. We pair you up with a current knob, and you shadow that knob for 24 hours. I left this on there because my hope is that maybe in the spring semester we'll be able to open those pre-knob visits back up. For the fall semester, this semester that we're currently in, that is not an option. We're not allowing outside visitors into the barracks at this point in time for obvious reasons. But maybe if a vaccine comes along, maybe we can open those visits back up for the spring. And then again, absolutely for the juniors next year. Hopefully we'll be out of this and be able to host those pre-knob visits again. Now we are hosting campus visitors, so if you want to come and do an information session with an admissions counselor, get your questions answered face to face, certainly give us a call by appointment. We're having those opportunities. We're also doing campus tours, cadet guided campus tours. So if you want to talk to a cadet, sign up for a campus tour, and you can talk to the cadet as they walk you around campus. Getting back to what your next steps are during the senior year, submit your FAFSA. Again, the next couple of days, that opens up. And then we have a final acceptance checklist here at the Citadel. And what's on that list is your medical clearance process. Again, I mentioned this earlier in one of my previous slides, the physical fitness portion of it. So Once you're academically accepted, we then send you the information as far as the medical acceptance is concerned. And it's a physical. If you've ever played a sport, you've had a sports physical, that's pretty much what our medical acceptance process is. We have some paperwork that you're going to complete. You're going to take to your family physician or one of the doc in the box places. They'll complete the physical form for you. You will then submit that form to the infirmary here at the Citadel, not the admissions office. We don't make medical decisions in the admissions office, but Dr. Capel, who's a Citadel surgeon, he and his staff will review your paperwork and make those medical decisions, give you a thumbs up, or they may say, hey, unfortunately, you don't meet our criteria, or they may say we need some additional information, especially if you've had some type of surgery. Then they may come back to you and just make sure that you've been cleared for physical activity, those types of things. Also, on that final acceptance checklist, we do require you to sign and submit a drug test consent form. Our cadets are getting to work with some equipment that we can't have anybody under the influence of any outside substances. So the drug test consent form, and then making sure, of course, that you submit your final high school transcript upon graduation. Any transfer students, making sure you submit that final college transcript before you gain that final acceptance. So I told you earlier I would have a slide that showed you kind of the day in the life of a cadet. And I always like to end on this slide just because this is typically where we receive the most questions. But you can see it purposely, it's Monday through Friday. There is some structure on the weekends, but definitely not like it is during the week. And if it's what we call an open weekend here at the Citadel, absolutely, you have free time. Even as a NOB, you'll have some open weekends where you can go out and enjoy Charleston. Now, during NOB year, your first semester on our campus, as a NOB, you don't have any overnight weekend leave. So midnight Friday night, you're back on campus with us as a NOB. Midnight Saturday night, you're back on campus with us as a NOB. And then all cadets return to campus before the start of the mandatory study period, which is roughly 7:30 in the evening. But Monday through Friday, you see up at the top, 0520, that's 5:20 a.m. On Mondays and Thursdays, there's Corps-wide PT. Again, that's physical training for those individuals on the call who may be interested in commissioning in the military. The ROTC branches also have PT every morning. So they do PT Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday as well. You can see over here on the side, breakfast speed line, lunch speed line, dinner speed line. Those are your opportunities to head over to the mess hall and eat. Speed line just basically means buffet style. You go through the line and get what you would like to eat there. You have a morning assembly or inspection in the morning. As a NOB, yes, all cadets, but as NOBs especially, you're going to be inspected. You're going to make sure your shoes are shined, your brass is shined, your uniform's looking good before you head out to class. And then classes on our campus start at 8 a.m. Just like a traditional college, you're going to have, our cadets, typically a NOB will take 7 classes, 5 of those classes being academic classes, and then 2 of those classes, one being 2 extra classes, one of those classes being an ROTC course, and then the other one being a physical fitness course. The ROTC and physical fitness courses are 1-hour courses. You're not adding a whole lot of extra study time to your schedule. But just like a traditional college, you will have classes Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Tuesday, Thursday classes. So you could potentially have, say, 4 classes on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then 3 classes on Tuesday, Thursday, or some combination of that. And classes on our campus run up until roughly 4 p.m. in the afternoon. And then at that point in time, I mentioned earlier, everyone on our campus is doing something physical and more than likely competitive, whether it's intramural sports, team practices, ROTC training, ROTC labs, Monday through Thursday. And then on Friday, you see the word parade. Traditionally, again, in a non-pandemic world, we would have almost every Friday at 3:45, there would be a parade. And that's where we have all 2,300 of our cadets marching out on the parade field in their dress uniforms. And they march out, it's a giant, basically, accountability formation where we know where everyone is. And then they'll march by the president of the Citadel, any VIPs that may happen to be on campus that day, And then after parade or your last cadet commitment on Friday, you do have general leave. Again, like I said, as a nod, you're required to be back at midnight on Friday, midnight on Saturday. Other things during the week, Monday through Thursday, and actually the evening study period starts on Sunday. So from 7:30 up until 10:30, there's an evening study period, nothing else going on during that time frame. You can either be in the library studying, you can be in one of our academic support centers, or you could, of course, be in your room, or you could potentially be in a faculty member's office. You know, faculty members have late hours. Absolutely, you may go over and get a little extra help as well. All in, lights out at 11. You don't have to go to bed at 11, but it does mean you have to be in your room, have to have the overhead light off. You know, and but you can still stay up. You can have a reading lamp on your desk if you've got some studying to do, or you know, paper to write, that sort of thing. But just remember, you're going to be back up early that next day, that next morning, just during the week anyway. And you know, so you want to try to get everything in. And the blank spot on here doesn't have anything there. That's left blank purposely. We have lots of different clubs and organizations that you can be involved with on our campus, whether it's a politically affiliated group, religious affiliated group, or you're just into, you know, bass fishing or something like that. There's plenty of those opportunities, and that's why that's blank. The clubs and organizations utilize this time in between the intramurals and everything in the evening study period to hold club meetings. Don't worry, you're not going to miss dinner. Those clubs are going to have food at their meetings, or the meetings will be short enough that you'll still be able to get over to dinner, and those types of things. So it's a busy day, Monday through Friday, and that's a good thing. So I know we had a couple of questions in the chat, but if anybody has any additional questions or concerns, feel free to type them now. I'll head over to the chat in just a second, answer those. But if you think of any questions or have any concerns, you know, after this, again, this will be available as a recording, but you can always just reach out to us directly. Admissions@citadel.edu is the admissions office email. I'll give you a second if you want to grab a pen, write this down, or take a screenshot, or you can call 843-953-5230. Again, my name is Greg Daly. I'm one of the Associate Directors of Admissions here. You can absolutely ask for me, or you know, on the phone they'll probably ask you, you know, where are you from, because we do have particular account for different territories, both inside South Carolina and outside South Carolina. You know, so they may direct you to your counselor specifically. So first question is, how accessible are staff members, counselors, professors, etc.? They are very accessible. Go back to this daily schedule. You know, all of our professors are going to have posted office hours, those types of things, but it is not uncommon during this evening study period to see faculty members walking through our battalions or barracks. If we were a traditional school, your barracks would be a dorm. And it's not uncommon to see faculty members walking through our barracks, which is where the cadets live, to see if cadets have any questions or concerns or need any help with anything. So if you have a class that's not your class, absolutely. If it's not your best subject, absolutely. You can go and speak with those faculty members. But in addition to that, there is academic support available on our campus. Our academic support center, has individual group study sessions, individual and group study sessions, I should say, during that evening study period as well. The academic support center on our campus is open until 11 o'clock. So during that evening study period, you can absolutely go over there and see that and see those folks. And if you have a B in a class and you want to make an A, absolutely go over to the academic support center. And if you put in the work, you'll definitely get that A. Another question is, do we have an SAT or an ACT requirement, requirement for 2021? So if you're applying for coming in 2021, the answer is no, you can't apply test optional. Now moving forward, if you're graduating high school after 2021, that's kind of up in the air right now if we're going to bring back that SAT or ACT requirement for any of the juniors that may be on the call. But for right now, current high school seniors that are applying for next year, no, there is not an SAT or ACT requirement. Does anyone else have any questions? We've got about 5 minutes left. Okay, we've got one more coming in. Another question is, do cadets wear uniforms pretty much all the time? The answer is yes. Yes, cadets, you're in some type of uniform pretty much 24 hours a day, 7 days a week if you're within 10 miles of our campus. So even if you're out on the peninsula in downtown Charleston, if you've ever visited Charleston, you've probably seen our cadets on the weekends walking around. They are required to be in those uniforms. Now, of course, you're not sleeping in your uniforms. You can sleep in a pair of shorts and t-shirt, whatever happens to be, that type of thing. But when you're going to class, we have what's called a duty uniform. You're wearing that to class. We have the OCPs, which are the camouflage uniforms that cadets wear when they're doing their ROTC training. And also they can, when the weather gets cold, they'll be wearing those when they do their PT and their mornings as well. So yes, you are in uniform. Any other questions from anyone out there? Okay, well, a couple of questions that typically pop up that I have just written down, and I touched on this briefly, earlier, is that, you're not required to go into the military after attending the Citadel. Now, again, 1 in 3 of our cadets do, so it is a great option for you, but it is not a requirement. And we have, very high job placement rates and very high grad school placement rates here at the Citadel. So, if you're planning on doing something else, whether it's, going out in the workforce, our engineering program, has a 100% job placement rate. So and they're making quite a bit of money. I think the average starting salary for an engineer is in the high $50,000 range. So that's pretty good. We have med school placement rates up in the 90% range. Other things that I probably should have touched on during the application process, retention rates from freshman to sophomore year, we're always in that mid 80% range, which is very high nationally. A lot of people think because we're a senior military college that our retention rate is probably not that good. It's actually the opposite. Our retention rate is quite good here at the Citadel, and our 4-year graduation rates are also very, very good. Our 4-year graduation rate is typically in that mid to upper 60% range. We don't have a whole lot of 5-year graduates, but we have a few. If you look at a 5-year graduation rate, it bumps us up into the 70% range. Typically, we don't report a 6-year graduation rate, which is actually what most schools report. But our 4-year graduation rate tends to beat most other institutions' 6-year graduation rate. So if you choose to attend the Citadel, absolutely, it's a great school. And the people who are applying want to be here. They're not the type of individuals who are going to start something and quit anyway. So a lot of those retention rates and graduation rates, just have to do with it has to do a lot with what we're doing for our cadets, but some of it has to do with the fact that the individuals applying to the Citadel want to be here. They already have a goal in mind. So with that, I'm going to, if we don't have any other questions, we've got about 1 minute left. I'm going to turn it back over. And for a few little housekeeping notes, I think. And I hope you enjoyed my presentation. And again, it'll be available here in the upcoming week on a recording through the StriveScan website.
Thanks, Greg. All right, that was a great presentation. And we want to thank everyone for joining us today. After I close out of the webinar, there'll be a very quick 4-question survey. We'd just like to know, what you liked, what you think we could do better. So it's a great thing for you to fill out really quickly. There are definitely more sessions going on, so you can sign up for those at www.cacrao.org. And just a reminder that this recording will be available generally within a week also at CACRAO.org. So that website is up there. Feel free to take a screenshot of that. And we're very happy that you joined us. So thank you everyone for being here, and have a great rest of your day.